Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy? Sports and Fitness Rants. I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, guys. And in this video, we're going to talk about how Erik Spoelstra has exposed LeBron James yet again. He continues to expose LeBron James and the narrative surrounding LeBron James that he never played for a quality head coach, right? Never played for a great organization or a great system. You know, I heard some LeBron James fans talking about this stuff, and you hear them bring us up often. Oh, LeBron James never played for a great coach. He never played for a Phil Jackson. He never had a great system. He never had a great, organization or general man. They make these excuses for LeBron James all the time. The dude literally played for the Miami Heat franchise that he ran to, and had Erik Spoelstra there, who's a quality head coach. Like I said, he's proven and exposed that. And you play for Pat Riley, who obviously knows what it takes to win. He's won at every level, in every phase of the NBA, in every phase of basketball, as a player, as an assistant coach, as a head coach, as a president of, of an organization. This is Pat Riley, man. The dude's a legit player, a legit winner. LeBron James ran away from that franchise, and Erik Spoelstra has exposed that idea that LeBron James never played for a good coach, as Erik Spoelstra has yet again led the Miami Heat, who don't have any big-name players on their teams, right? Yet again, he's in the postseason, and he has his team competitive. The Miami Heat are always competitive with Erik Spoelstra there. And we're going to talk about in this video, man, how he continues to expose LeBron James and the narrative about the coaching. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states has been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, you know I'm truly, truly humbled. Shout out to everybody, like I said, that comes through, that donates, that sends me messages and emails, guys. It means a lot for real, man. Thank you very much to all the true fans out there. And you guys know what to do. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to do another video. I've done a video in the past on Erik Spoelstra. I believe last year I did a video on Erik Spoelstra basically saying the same kinds of things. This man continues to expose the narrative that LeBron James never played for a quality head coach or a good head coach or a great head coach. And because I think we're starting to get to the point now where we can attach the word great to Erik Spoelstra. I'm not going to lie. I think that Erik Spoelstra is in that realm. He's entering the realm of a great coach, especially over the last 20 years. Or the last, I don't know how long he's been the coach of the Miami Heat. I think like maybe 16 or 17 seasons, guys. He's been there. You guys realize that Erik Spoelstra has been the head coach of the Miami Heat, guys, since the 2009 NBA season, guys. That's a long time. As a matter of fact, if you guys go back and look at the guys or the coaches or the people who were head coaches for some of these other teams when he took over as a Miami Heat head coach, a lot of these guys you haven't heard of them in a long time, guys. You know that Phil Jackson was the coach of the Lakers when Erik Spoelstra first took over as a head coach in Miami, guys? Phil Jackson was the head coach of the Lakers. That's how long ago this was. Don Nelson was the head coach of the Golden State Warriors when Erik Spoelstra took over as the head coach of the Miami Heat, guys. Think about how long ago this was. It's a long time ago, guys. I believe Mike Woodson was the coach of the New York Knicks back in 2000. Mike Woodson. When was the last time you heard that dude's name? These are some of the coaches that were out here in the NBA, guys, during this time. I believe Mike Brown was the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers at the time. Right? So you guys remember some of these names. I think Jerry Sloan was still the coach of the Utah Jazz, guys, when Erik Spoelstra became the head coach of Miami. So this is giving you guys a little perspective and context of how long Erik Spoelstra has been the head coach for the Miami Heat. The only coach that's been a head coach since Erik Spoelstra took over in 2009, the only coach that is still the head coach when he took over is Greg Popovich. And Greg Popovich don't look like he's coaching anymore. It looks like he's done. And he's had a long ride, Greg Popovich. But think about that, guys. Greg Popovich is the only other head coach that still has a job on the same team since Erik Spoelstra has been in Miami, guys. All of these seasons, he's been there, the mainstay in Miami. So LeBron James comes to Miami, right, and plays for the Miami Heat. And Erik Spoelstra and the Miami Heat win 2 championships there, right? They win back-to-back championships, the LeBron James super team. We get all that. The underperformance from LeBron James, right? He underperformed in some of those NBA finals. We get all of that. So who knows? Maybe Erik Spoelstra could have been the last coach to coach a three-peat. He could have been a champion of 11, 12, and 13. But LeBron James choked it up for him. Choked it up for D. Wade. No one talks about this kind of stuff. They'll tell you that LeBron James never played for a great head coach. He never played for a Phil Jackson. No, LeBron James never turned Erik Spoelstra into a Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan allowed Phil Jackson to be great, right? And he raised him up. He lifted up Phil Jackson. He didn't tear Phil Jackson or bring Phil Jackson down. He lifted up Phil Jackson by going out there and raising his level of play when it mattered most. So the Bulls won all those championships. Because Michael Jordan was raising his level of play, leading the team. He didn't fold up or choke it up or fumble it away and blow it for the team. No, he always raised up in those moments, which allowed Phil Jackson to look greater than he really was, to become great, right? And now you have people talking about Phil Jackson, and Phil Jackson is a great coach as far as personalities and motivation and those kinds of things. But once again, Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan. He had Kobe Bryant, right? Shaquille O'Neal. You're playing with great players in that system. So it wasn't just a system that Phil Jackson brought in, because Phil Jackson tried to bring that same system to the New York Knicks and it did nothing. Nothing. Remember, it's the players, guys, that are ultimately have to be the ones to figure the system out and make it work. It ain't just Phil Jackson. Oh, yeah, just run a triangle, guys. No, it's Michael Jordan mastering the triangle and figuring out how to maximize his teammates in that triangle. That's on the great players. That's their burden. But we're talking about Erik Spoelstra here. So think about that, guys. He's been in Miami since 2009. The Miami Heat just won. They're the first team, I believe, in NBA history. Now, once again, this is just since the play-in now. So it's not like a long history. It's a history of, 4 years or 5 seasons, whatever it is. But they're the first team now, I think, to win consecutive or multiple play-in games as a road team. And they've also, I believe, are the first play-in team to make the playoffs as a 10th seed. So Erik Spoelstra is doing things during the play-in tournament era that haven't been done before with a team that doesn't really have a lot of talent. Can you name me the big-name players on the Miami Heat? Even if you think about over the last 5, 6, 7 years or so, can you name me the big-name guys on the Miami Heat? There's no Dwayne Wade anymore. There's no LeBron James there, right? There's no Ray Allen there. There's no Chris Bosh there. He's been winning with guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Now, Jimmy Butler's a solid NBA player. He's a good player, but he's not an all-time great legend like that. And once again, Jimmy Butler's been very inconsistent. He missed a lot of games. He's not there a lot. So Erik Spoelstra was winning with frail players. Bam Adebayo, another guy who missed a lot of games. He's frail. He's not a big-time player. Bam Adebayo's an undersized center. Like I told you, in other eras, Bam Adebayo wouldn't even be in the league, man. At 6'8", you're playing center, power forward. At that, he just wouldn't make it, man. He wouldn't be able to do. He'd be a bench guy, and there's no knock on him. But Erik Spoelstra has been winning games, having the Heat consistently in the playoffs every year with guys like Jimmy Butler, who always hurt. Remember, Jimmy Butler last year missed every playoff game. He didn't play a single postseason game last year. And there have been other years that he's missed multiple playoff games. Bam Adebayo's missed multiple playoff games. Remember, these guys missed games in the finals. Bam Adebayo, Goran Dragic. Right? Some of these guys, they missed several games in the finals in 2020. So Erik Spoelstra has 2 trips to the NBA Finals without Dwayne Wade, without LeBron James. Remember, they went in 2020 and they went in 2023. 2023. So 2 trips to the NBA Finals with your best players, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler. And now you're winning and being competitive when your best players, Tyler Hero. There's no knock on Tyler Hero, but come on, man, Tyler Hero's your best player. And you got people arguing and crying that other guys don't have help. Oh, this guy doesn't have any help. What do the Miami Heat have? Do they have a great team with a bunch of stout players? How much help does Erik Spoelstra have? How much help does Tyler Hero have? And he's winning games and being competitive with the Miami Heat with a guy like Tyler Hero. This is Erik Spoelstra. Every year, the Miami Heat are competitive. Maybe they're not title contenders, but they're competitive no matter who's on the roster. To me, Erik Spoelstra has done more with less than any other coach in the last 5 or 6 years. In my opinion, he's done more with less than any other coach. He don't have a Giannis Antetokounmpo on his team. He don't have a Luka Doncic or a Kyrie Irving on his team. Right? He don't have a Steph Curry or a Kevin Durant on his team, or a Kawhi Leonard or a Russell Westbrook or James Harden. Right? He don't have a Nikola Jokic, an SGA, a Jason Tatum. He don't have none of these guys on his team. He has the other guys. And he's still able to win and be competitive, right? Without any big name guys and a bunch of talent. Like I said, guys missing games, in and out of the lineup, this and that. Still able to be competitive. And like I said, Erik Spoelstra is the second longest tenured coach. Like I said, if you don't count Craig Popovich, he is the longest tenured coach in the NBA, man. Been on the Miami since 09. There's not a damn other coach in the league still to this day that's been a head coach on the same team since then. No one. Like I said, go look at the names of the coaches. You haven't heard of some of these guys in years. Jerry Sloan passed away. Rest in peace. They said Phil Jackson was a coach of the Lakers. Mike Woodson was a coach of the Knicks. These are some guys I remember off the top of my head. I think George Karl was the coach of the Denver Nuggets. I think Scott Brooks was the coach of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, guys, this is a long time ago, man. Erik Spoelstra's still been there. And do you guys really also realize that the Miami Heat actually tied their franchise record for most consecutive trips to the postseason? So I believe this was the Miami Heat's 6th consecutive season in the postseason, guys. So 6 years in a row without any big name guys on the team, with guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo missing games. Guys like Goran Dragic missing games, right? Winning with guys like Tyler Hero, the Duncan Robinsons, the Kelly Olynyk's. These are guys that have been on the roster that Erik Spoelstra is competing with, right? So once again, it speaks to quality coaching of Erik Spoelstra. But when LeBron James fans talk about LeBron James never had no great coach, never played for a quality head coach, never played in a great system or a great organization, that's a lie. The man played for the Miami Heat. They have a winning Heat culture there. They established way before LeBron James got there. That they established in the late 90s when Pat Riley came there to coach the Miami Heat. That's when the Miami Heat started to establish a winning culture, right? Then as the years went on, they would establish that culture. They won a championship in 2006, led by Dwayne Wade, right? And that's where they've been at, right? Then you have LeBron James and the Miami Heat. They win it, and that's what it's been. It's because of guys like Erik Spoelstra, guys like Pat Riley. Remember, Erik Spoelstra is there because of Pat Riley. Pat Riley literally handpicked Erik Spoelstra, who worked his way up through the ranks. I remember when Erik Spoelstra was the video recording guy for the Miami Heat. That was his job, and then he becomes the head coach. So once again, these are things that we're talking about as it relates to the exposing of LeBron James and the lack of good coaching or great coaching. When you see what Erik Spoelstra is doing in the NBA right now with the players that he's doing it with, much respect to Erik Spoelstra. And like I said, the way that he's able to coach these players when guys are missing games, when you're going against other teams with much greater players than you have. Once again, shout out to Erik Spoelstra, man. He's proven to be a quality head coach, and he's exposed LeBron James and his fan base heavily as, once again, creating narratives and lies to make Erik Spoelstra look worse than he is and to make it seem as though LeBron James, once again, ain't got no help as far as coaching. He never played in a great system. No, the problem is LeBron James didn't want to play in that system. He didn't want to work on his game. He didn't want to work on his free throws. He didn't want to work on his mid-range jump shot, right? He didn't want to work and hustle on the defensive end like that. He didn't want to have the responsibility and the accountability of being a leader, of being the main guy. That guys like Erik Spoelstra and Pat Riley, they were going to put that accountability on you. They were going to make you practice and earn it. LeBron James didn't want to do none of that stuff. So he tries to get Erik Spoelstra fired, which is hilarious because if you're going to sit there and say LeBron James never played for a great coach or a good coach, and he did, why was he trying to get Erik Spoelstra fired? So it's like he doesn't want to play for a coach. He doesn't want to be coached. Let's be real here. And I've told you guys many times, LeBron James is not coachable, right? Where someone like Michael Jordan was coachable, he was able to take in the criticisms, take in this stuff, and understand what it takes to win. Figure it out. Understand that you need your teammates to help you. You have to sacrifice. LeBron James don't get this stuff. Just don't get it. So he's out there goofing it up, refuse to play in the system, and then you request it, and you leave Miami. You try to get this guy fired. They don't want to fire him, so you leave. Once again, like a spoiled brat, a little sore loser, you walk and pout and moan, and you take your basketball home because you don't want to work, you want to earn it. They were holding him accountable. LeBron James wants no coaching, no accountability, no blame. Everyone else's fault, not mine. I'm going to get my stats. That's LeBron James, that's his fan base. So you guys know that these are the facts, man. Shout out to Erik Spoelstra. Like I said, he's been a coach of the Miami since 2009 season. The longest 10-year coach in the NBA. Now counting Greg Popovich, like I said, who looks like he might be done. He might need to retire now because he's got some medical issues going on. So hope everything works out with him. But like I said, Miami Heat go to their 6th consecutive playoff. They're the first 10 seed to make the playoffs since the play-in came about. And like I said, you can't point to any big-time player that Erik Spoelstra has had, since Dwayne Wade, retired. Since LeBron James left, Chris Bosh is gone. I say he's winning games with Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo, and now you don't even have Jimmy Butler there, and you're winning games with Tyler Hero as your main guy. This is Erik Spoelstra, the consistency of the Miami Heat since he's been there, They're always competitive. Like I said, they may not be title contenders every year or one of the great teams, but every year they're competitive. When you look at your team, you know, a lot of people out there, their favorite team, your favorite team, have they been to the playoffs for 6 consecutive seasons? Right? Has your team been that consistent since 2009, let's say? These are things that we're talking about. There are a lot of teams out there that are not winning games, or one season, maybe they make the playoffs and the next year they're not. Guys get injured and the teams can't survive. Coaches get fired. How many times have we seen coaches get fired? I mean, how many coaches got fired this year? The Grizzlies coach got fired in the middle of the season. Right? They fired the Denver Nuggets coach with like 4 or 5 games left. I mean, they're firing guys left and right. The Phoenix Suns coach is fired. And these are winners. Mike Malone was a champion. Budenholzer was a champion. I mean, what are we doing here? They're just firing guys just because. But they haven't fired Erik Spoelstra. He's been there for a long, long time, man. Because the dude is legit. And once again, he's been consistent and he's always kept his team competitive. He's a true professional, man. So once again, shout out to Erik Spoelstra, man. Shout out to the Miami Heat for doing what they did last night. Like I said, for being competitive. Like I said, for this narrative that LeBron James never had a great coach, we can argue all day long about guys like Erik Spoelstra or good coaches, or Mike Brown, who's won multiple Coach of the Year awards, when Phil Jackson's only won 1 in his career. Once again, not saying he's greater than Phil Jackson, but these guys are good coaches, man. LeBron James never made them greater. It's on LeBron James. It was on him to raise the level of his teammates and the coach. But he didn't do that. If the Chicago Bulls were 0-3 in the first three-peat, right? Let's say they went to the finals 3 years in a row and they lost every one. They were 0-3 because in 91, Michael Jordan missed that shot at the end of game 3 and Scottie Pippen fouled out and they went down 2-1 against the Lakers and never came back from that. What happens in 92 if Michael Jordan's not making those 3 points in game 1 and he's not feeling the jump shot like that and he's off and he's just not having a good matchup against Clyde Drexler? He didn't raise his level of play. And game 5 came, the series was tied 2 and Michael Jordan didn't score 45 points. He only scored 25, right? And they lose game 3. They go down 3-2 and they lose that series. What happens in 93 if Michael Jordan doesn't average 41 points a game to lead the Chicago Bulls in a series where the Chicago Bulls and the Phoenix Suns both scored the same amount of points? That's how close the series was. If Michael Jordan averaged 37 points a game in that series, they lose the series, guys. 37 points a game, they still would lose. He needed that 41 points a game to get them over the hump because Charles Barkley was playing out of control. So once again, Mike Jordan raised the level of play. But what if he didn't do that and the Bulls were 0-3? What would Phil Jackson look like? Would he look like the great head coach that he is? Would they blame Phil Jackson? No, they would have blamed Michael Jordan. So, but now you want to give Phil Jackson all the credit for the wins? Don't make any sense. These are the facts. Erik Spoelstra did what he did since he's been in Miami. He's proven to be a quality head coach, guys. These are the facts, man. You guys know the deal. I'll catch you guys on the next one.